Hi guys, it's Average, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at one that's slipped under the radar for me a little bit. This has come from AerofoilLabs, a well-known Xplane developer, and this is the Bristel B23. It's a Czech LSA designed to meet European and US LSA requirements, which I believe is the CS23 and US FAR23 certification for LSA aircraft. Now, this is two-seater with glass avionics. It's got the G3Xs in there, and it includes a BRS, ballistic parachute system, ballistic rescue recovery system, however you want to call it. I don't know if that works. We'll find out in the air. Information on the actual features of this aircraft are kind of thin, and it's only available in the marketplace, and the information on their website is literally pulled from the Bristel webpage, by and large. Now, they do comment that they're going to make a study-level version of this for Xplane 12, but no information of that for MSFS. Now, the aircraft itself has a useful load of about 300 kilos, empty weight of 450 kilos, 750 for maximum takeoff, fuel tank capacity of 120 litres, which is a lot. It gives you about 780 nautical miles of range, which is huge, and it has a stall speed of about 50 knots clean, and it has, with flaps, 43, which is pretty slow. It has a general kind of speed of about 170, 150 knots, true airspeed, and climb at around 750 feet per minute clean, and it can do best climb at 62 knots. So it's a pretty decent performer in the LSA category, which is impressive. It runs a Rotax engine with an MT propeller. So we're going to take a look at this thing. Now, it comes with 8 liveries of general variations on the same sort of colours. So let's take a look at this aircraft, shall we? Now, let's not forget the landing gear check, which is hard to do when they're covered in wheel pants. But the pants... Okay, a little bit of texture weirdness, but the pants are well textured, actually. Or well modelled, I should say. There's detail in there. It's a very slim-nosed aircraft, of course, with that Rotax, so it makes it quite a streamlined release. We've had a few modern LSAs recently. Now, we've got some study-level ones out there, and we've got some non-study level ones out there like this. And for the price of £20 on the marketplace, possibly a little high if it's as light on features as it seems. This is a marketplace exclusive, so we'll have to see. Not seen much out here on it, but we'll find out. Of course, it uses the default pilots, which is useful. Am I seeing flickering glass on the inside there from certain angles? I don't think I am. Let's go inside and take a look, shall we? So, texturing is decent. Looks good. You can open the canopy. It's a good start. And where would the... Okay, the glove box is here. Interesting clickable features. Power sockets there. Fuel selector. Which is rotated, of course, to various settings that you want. We've got prop and we've got throttle, of course. I've got flaps down here. Now, this is the parachute, and it doesn't seem to be clickable, so I'm going to take a wild guess that it's not. Now, for those of you who want to cruise and enjoy the flight and not necessarily have to fly the plane the entire time, we've got a choke for the engine there. It does have an autopilot, which is useful. Now, we have panel lighting and we have glare shield lighting, so we'll turn the power on and we'll take a look. Now, nothing clickable over there. There was no information about a tablet. There's no manual included in the information, so I'm guessing on a lot of those factors. Of course, no need to have a disappearing flight control when it's right down there. Not really in the way of anything. Rear of the cockpit cargo area is good. I wonder if I change the weight, will it give me anything? We'll give it 20. Doesn't appear to be anything in the back there. So, no changing or appearing materials. The co-pilot doesn't appear in the cockpit, which is a sticking point for some people. Let's turn the power on. Okay. Now we have fixed gear, of course, in this aircraft. So that's our backup battery there. There's our mags. So we're going to close the canopy for a second and we'll turn the lighting on. This is interesting. I don't necessarily like how those screens are displaying. The screens look different to stock avionics, especially on those two. Interesting. It's definitely much more visible. Everything appears much more visible than stock avionics. I'm not sure if it is stock or not, but it's much more visible than I'm used to. Right, let's turn the dimmers on here. Glare shield and panel lighting. Let's change our time to night, shall we? For a quick look-see doodle at this. Okay. That's not bad. It is certified in real life for nighttime VFR, so you could do a darn good job of nighttime VFR with this avionics and with this lighting. You could definitely see everything you'd want to do, so not bad. And there's not a ton of glare on the canopy, which I expect with those large glass canopy aircraft. This isn't bad at all. Prepare your eyes as we drop it back to about lunchtime here at Orcas Island. Let's turn those down. Our fuel is on. So let's give this thing a spin, shall we? Let's turn my head on. Okay. Clear prop. Quite quiet, but apparently the real aircraft's quite quiet with the Rotax. This feels extremely quiet, though. Maybe it's just got good sound deadening in the aircraft. Okay, let's take her out for a spin, shall we? I don't necessarily mean an actual spin, but let's see what it's like outside. Stop there for a second. The sounds feel very muted. I will say that much. Very muted. Let's knock that off. Give her a notch of flaps for departure here. The sky's looking a little heavy here at Orcas Island today, but hey, what the heck. If you can hear birds in the background, it's currently about 4 in the morning in the UK, and it's one of my peak times for recording and flying because it's quiet, usually. But the birds disagree with me today. I hope you can't hear them, but they're being annoying. I should go find the cat and introduce them. Although that lazy one is probably asleep. Right, let's get ourselves out here. Now, from what I'm seeing so far, I don't see a lot of systems depth to this aircraft. We've got the G3X's, but I'm not sure there's a lot to those. They seem to be, feature-wise... Okay, that's slightly more annoying. Okay, that works. Things do seem a little bit off from what I'm expecting, perhaps. Not necessarily with this, but there's definitely a difference in some of these avionics. So I'm not sure if that is the same coding behind the autopilot there, but we'll find out. Definitely going to say the engines are quiet. That is a definite thing for me right now. I'm seeing... Ground handling is good. The visibility is fantastic. It's very cirrusy, or very diamondy, actually, is probably the best way to describe it. It feels like if Diamond made an LSA. But maybe skimped a bit on the panel. Let's go to take off power here. Now, it shouldn't be long before we can take off. Climbs easily into the skies. And we're going to pull our power back and smidge here. And we're going to angle up for our climb. Now, it's reported to be stable in their information and in ours, and I will say, I do like the very, very visible instruments down there. The colour seems a little bit strange, but we'll see. It's different to what I'm used to, I suppose, in the sim. Everything does seem a lot more readable. I'm not sure what they've done to this, but the G3X's and the other instruments feel a lot more readable than normal in MSFS, which can be a problem with the glass screens. But everything feels just a little bit easier to read, which is nice, actually. Compared to what we've seen from some of the other aircraft, though, in terms of the LSA categories, including full systems depth ones, it's hard to say this is worth the money. It's nicely made, of course, but we're seeing a different price model coming in for flight sim aircraft in this generation, where there's a higher percentage of people going to buy things, and I think perhaps they've left a lot of systems out so it's available for Xbox, which I believe it is. And maybe that's why. I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing to do in this case, but it is a factor. And not as much as you'd imagine, but it can be. Where's my landing lights? Oh, there we go. We had it for a second. We've made them blink. Oh well, screw it. We'll keep them on. It's a bit dull out here anyway. Okay. So flight handling is generally very gentle. It will roll. I don't think it will actually want to go fully inverted. It doesn't like this at all. That's a lot of nose drop, even applying corrective controls. I didn't really want to do that. It will do it, but it's not particularly happy about it. I still have flaps deployed, so let's pull those up. Trim indications are quite nice. We have night and day toggle. If the sim will let me grab it in time. I think it's just turning the brightness down on some of the cockpit lighting, which is a good feature to have, actually. I'll give him that. I'm not seeing a lot from this, though, overall. It's got features, it's got interesting different things that do provide an opportunity for something I haven't really seen. What do you do? It just says up and down, which in a plane is not very clear. What did that do? I don't know. What do you do? Switch? Up and down. Up and down what? Gear? Sky? Fuel pumps there, of course, so we're set to wig-wag right now, so if I keep some solid on. And that's them permanently off. So it's a 3-position switch there, which is why my controller was getting confused by them. We're going to spin ourselves around here, and we're going to bring her in for landing, see how she behaves. Visibility-wise, it's fantastic. I do love that. There are other aircraft in the same category that offer the same sort of functionality, though, which is going to be hard to really beat, especially with what we've had recently in terms of LSA offerings. So there are better options out there that are about the same price. So that's always a factor to consider. In fact, I believe, if I take a quick look, it was in fact the, as I'm losing altitude here, I've still got power on, I should probably pull that back. Let's pull the power out here. I believe the Sting A4, which has a functioning BRS, also was full systems depth. So the FS Reborn Sting S4 was a far better offering, I believe, in the LSA category. So if you're looking for a good modern instrument-equipped LSA that has systems depth and is about the same price, I think I would pick the Sting over this due to its extra features, systems depth functions, and general behaviour. They're both very similar in terms of how they fly, the speeds, the equipment in them, but the Sting comes with more features and more functionality. It is systems depth, it has failures, and the chute actually works and has amazing animations to go with it. So I can understand developers not offering systems depth, but we're starting to see the price margin shift in that regard. There's not a lot of systems in an LSA, and what makes me interested is this is the first foray, perhaps, by this developer. AerofoilLabs, mostly an Xplane developer. This is their first foray into MSFS. Maybe they'll offer a full systems depth version at some point. I know they said they're working on one for Xplane 12, or will offer one for Xplane 12, but perhaps a little steep for an introductory entry that's not a systems depth aircraft and has no manual, marketplace only. I mean, it's pretty simple. I think you could have knocked 5 off that and called it good. In fact, if this was 15 rather than 20, I'd say, bang on there. Not bad at all. So we're at 1 notch of flaps right now, and I'm just off the centre line a little bit. Let's slip her to the side. Be lined up nicely here. So she's flying down pretty well. I've got a little bit of power on here, and I really am just flying it down to the runway. It's not too challenging at all. Bring her in here. Pop her right here. And it does exactly what I asked it to do. Really easy to fly. Very forgiving, very gentle. Not much to really be concerned about with this aircraft and how it behaves. And visibility is great. System performance is great. I do think the price is slightly steep for what you're getting. And that's not a detriment to the developer. I just think that in this case, other companies have offered far more for the same price point. And we've seen a shift from the FSX days when £20 or so was kind of entry-level cost. Really what you expect. You're not going to get anything for that. So now, with bigger markets, that's the point where you're starting to see systems. That's the part where you're starting to see extra features. And to come out at this price, I think with not much, is perhaps a little steep. Visually, it's nice. Candy-wise, it's low. Okay, you can open the glove box down there. You can pop the canopy. But maybe if you offered chocks and tie-downs and a couple of ground features and things, maybe appearing luggage, the option to see your co-pilot in the seat there would be nice. I think there's a lot you can do that don't require full systems depth to even justify a bit more price. Because I'll often pay for a little bit more for an aircraft that has a bunch of those features because I find them more enjoyable into the immersion in the simulator. Now, the night flying capability of this is quite nice, but the Sting can do the same. In fact, there's nothing this can do the Sting S4 can't do. So I think if you're in the market for a modern LSA with modern avionics and equipment, that would be my port of call. Plus, the sounds are a lot better in the Sting. This feels very, very muted. Like, extremely muted. And I'm not sure why. But yeah, that is the AerofoilLabs Bristel B23. A nice aircraft, but it's in a populated market where it's got to compete with those other options, and I don't think it has enough clout in the belt to do that. I like it, but I think it could be better. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.